Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Thursday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and today, I'm going to be short today, not real long, not a whole lot of news to touch on, but I want to talk about the interview yesterday with Callaway. Want to talk about spring training being underway, and lastly, I want to talk about Jacob deGrom, who I think as Mets fans, we need to be really concerned about what's going on around our ace pitcher. Spring training is underway. Is there anything more glorious than when it's all snowy and white and cold here in the Northeast than watching guys wearing shorts running around in Florida or Arizona, if you're so inclined, playing baseball? Is there anything better than that? To me, there's not. I love spring training. I love watching the guys exercise and work out and get ready for the season. And, you know, watching videos from the camp yesterday, watching Syndergaard throwing the ball in the rain, it's just great. It makes me more and more excited for the season to start. And I mean, I'm like this every year. I don't care whether the Mets are going to be good or bad. I just love that baseball is coming back. I happen to be in the camp that the Mets are going to be good this year, but we'll see what happens. On that note, Callaway talked to the media for the first time this season, his first official press conference of 2019. He went on for about a half an hour, and he gave a pretty good interview, did a pretty good job talking about learning from his past mistakes, talking about how he spent a lot of time talking with Jim Riggleman and reviewing some of the things that went wrong last year. And I was encouraged by it, but of course I was encouraged by the way Mickey talked last year before the season, talking about how we're going to monitor guys and take care of the bullpen and everything. And you know, actions of course speak louder than words, but I think generally speaking, Mickey has that freshman year under his belt, and he has a more established bench coach, as I've mentioned a few times, who's going to help him make better decisions in game. So I'm excited about Mickey, and I'm excited about how he's going to take care of this team. There was no major red flag for me coming out of the press conference. A lot of people were kind of pissed that he pretty much said that Jason Vargas is going to be the fifth starter and that there will not be a competition for that spot. And interestingly, Mickey cited the fact that Vargas in the second half last year pitched really well, and he did. And, you know, Mickey really said, look, as soon as we got Vargas into a routine where he was throwing every fifth day, where he wasn't being skipped and where he wasn't, injured and with that freak wrist injury that he had in the spring, he talked about how effective Vargas was. And look, the numbers support that. And if Vargas is healthy going into spring training, which it seems like he is, if he's able to throw a complete spring training, if he's able to be the fifth starter from day one, I see no reason why you can't say this is our fifth starter. And let's be real, what's the alternative at this point? I mean, is it Hector Santiago? I suppose that's the alternative. You know, that's the competition, if you will. I have no problem with saying that Vargas is going to be the fifth starter, and you know, let's let him prove that he deserves it. But I think anointing him that. Absent him being completely awful this spring, I don't see a problem with that. So, no problem there at all. I was pretty happy with what Mickey had to say, and I'm just generally excited as spring training is underway. Now let's shift gears to something that concerns me a little bit, and it's Jacob deGrom. deGrom set a deadline basically to get an extension done for opening day. He does not want to negotiate during the season, and I don't blame him for that. He's a focused guy. He wants to have his full attention on the game and on making the best start he can make every fifth day. He doesn't want to be bogged down with, worrying about what the status of his extension deal might be. So, that being said, it is incumbent on Brodie Van Wagenen and his team, because I think Brodie is still going to be recused from the actual conversation about whether deGrom gets extended and what the deal looks like. But it's going to be incumbent on the Mets front office to get a deal done. And look, we can talk about Bryce Harper and Manny Machado as these generational talents who deserve the 10-year deals that they're seeking. You can agree or disagree on that, but in a vacuum, just looking at the Mets and just looking at the situation with their staff and the anchor of their staff being Jacob deGrom, if deGrom does not sign this extension, and if deGrom becomes a free agent, the Mets are not going to get him. They're just not. They're going to get outbid by somebody. And deGrom does not owe the Mets anything. Let's make that abundantly clear. He owes himself to get the best contract that he can possibly get. And right now, the only team that can offer that to him is the New York Mets. So if the Mets are smart, they bend over backwards and they give deGrom whatever he wants. And I mean that. And I'm a guy who's come out very loudly and clearly against these 10-year contracts. And I'm not going to get into the economics of baseball and how the disparity between what the players make and what the owners make is what it is, because it is what it is. And you can argue that players aren't getting paid enough of the pie, and you'd be right. But again, looking at this in a vacuum, the Mets have got to make sure that before opening day this year, they have locked up Jacob deGrom for 5-6 years. I don't care what the length is. I really don't. I do not care what the length is. Sign the man, because if he goes, this entire rotation crumbles behind him. Jacob deGrom is the most essential player on this Mets team right now and going forward. There is no one else who is more important to the New York Mets than Jacob deGrom. And the Mets need to show him that and prove him that. And the only way to do that is to make sure that you get him the deal that he wants before another team can even offer it to him. Period. So as spring training continues, as I remain excited about the season, I remain very cautious and even nervous about what's going to happen with deGrom. I hope that in the next week or so, we get an announcement and a big press conference from Port St. Lucie saying that Jacob deGrom has signed an extension with the Mets for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. I don't care how much money he wants. Give it to him. He's worth it. He is worth it. So, that'll wrap it up for today. I said it'd be short. I kept it short, which is good. I will probably not be back tomorrow because I just don't know what I'm going to be talking about unless something happens today, of course. Harper and Machado are still out there. I don't know if that's going to change. Maybe my next conversation will be a little bit about the economics of the game and how really unfair it is to the players who, yeah, they're making a shitload of money, but in relation to what their owners are making, it's peanuts. So in any event, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on how I'm feeling. So until then, tomorrow, Monday, whatever. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, as I always do. Follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.